The goal was one TV. It was the mid-1990s, and Stephen Lenhart was hoping to watch a weekend soccer game with some friends at a bar in Portland, Oregon. It may have been a Champions League game or a World Cup qualifier. He doesn't recall. What he does remember is the frustration he felt as the managers of bar after bar informed him that they would not turn even a single television from college football or an NFL game to a soccer match. They were all like, "Sorry, there just aren't enough of you." Soccer junkies throughout the United States at that time could empathize. Venues to watch games were few and far between, and often it felt as if the latest edition of Soccer America, that broadsheet Bible, was the only way for American followers of the sport to stay informed. Yet even among soccer aficionados, Lenhart graded out as a fanatic. How many Portland footy fans drove more than 9 hours to San Jose, California in 1996 just to be there for the inaugural Major League Soccer game between the San Jose Clash and DC United? How many then repeated the journey a few months later for a playoff game because, well, that was also like history? How many traveled over halfway across the country to Columbus, Ohio, a few years later, just to be present for one of the first games in the new Crew Stadium, because that, too, felt like a seminal moment? Soccer was not the central preoccupation in Lenhart's life. It was his life. His jobs, filling kegs at a local brewery, roasting beans at Kobo's Coffee Company, were the preoccupations. Imagine, then, how he felt being told again and again that the sport he loved more than anything else was so insignificant that in a bar with 20 televisions, it wasn't worth time on a single screen. Lenhart kept pestering bar owners until finally he found a sympathetic Greek immigrant named Angelo Marcantanatos, who operated the A&L Sports Pub, an underlit place on the city's east side, best known as a gathering spot for Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Marcantanatos told Lenhart that if he brought enough people so that his group outnumbered the people sitting near a TV who wanted to watch football, he would switch that TV to soccer. Lenhart managed to find 10. 8 friends plus him and his brother. And that was enough for Angelo to switch one screen in the darkest spot in the bar to their preferred match. Here we are, over in our little corner with our one little TV, and it felt like the biggest victory ever, Lenhart says. From that success, Lenhart took the lesson that while Portland's bar owners might not love soccer, they do like money. We just had to increase our numbers, he says. If you were in the same bar or coffee house as Lenhart around that time and showed even the slightest signal that you liked soccer, he'd approach you. If you passed him in the street and were wearing an Adidas warm-up jacket, he would invite you to watch a game at A&L or another such place. Eventually, he gave his small band of soccer watchers a name, the Cascade Rangers, and he had business cards printed that included an email address. Anyone who emailed him was added to a list and received notices whenever the group was gathering to watch a match. In addition to his recruiting efforts at bars and cafes and on the streets, Lenhart became the unofficial moderator of a soccer message board on the website of the Oregonian, where he would post topics to debate. On that board, his username was Nevitz, Stephen spelled backward. That was the name Lenhart had given himself in the early 1990s when he began performing at a poetry open mic night at Cafe Lena in southeast Portland. He was around 23 at the time and working in the darkroom at a photography studio. In the coffee houses and breweries around Portland where he would come to work, infrequently, and drink, frequently, over the years, he was known only as Nevitz. "There used to be this thing that I've worked at every cool place in Portland," he says. Lenhart had thick brown hair and sideburns and a nose like Santa Claus, prominent and rounded at the tip. His gray-blue eyes were obscure with wire-rimmed glasses that seemed a little small for his face. He favored worn brown cords and loose long-sleeve shirts layered over one another. His only flourish was a wool flat cap. A friend called his look quintessential 1990s Portland. Between the email list and the message board, Lenhart was more connected to soccer fans than almost any other person in the Rose City. The group of 10 people in the corner of the A&L Sports Pub eventually grew to 20, and then 40, and then 60. After a few years, Lenhart could fill a bar by sending out a single email. He had the contact information for hundreds of people in Portland who supported soccer.